In this lesson, we're going to talk about how we can use cross multiplication to solve proportions. And we're going to be doing a lot of cross multiplication. It's my favorite strategy, and I think you're going to like it too. Take a look at, let me move this, workbook page 279. On page 279, we're going to read about cross multiplication. When two equivalent ratios are written in a factor puzzle, the products of the numbers in opposite corners are going to be equal. This results in a strategy for solving proportions called cross multiplication. We used cross multiplication before when we were talking about comparing fractions. So for example, if I was comparing 3/4 to 6/8, you might not notice right away, but these fractions are equivalent to each other. They're equal to each other. And you can prove it with cross multiplication. 4 times 6, 24. 3 times 8, 24. Which means that these two fractions are equal to each other. Well, guess what? In a proportion, you already know that the two ratios are already equal. A proportion is two equal ratios. So because they're already equal, when you cross multiply, you're supposed to get the same product. Take a look at these two ratios right here. We have 10/15 and 18/27. Those are equivalent ratios. And if you were to cross multiply, you would see that they are going to be equivalent. 15 times 18 is going to be the same as 10 times 27. 10 times 27 is 270, and 15 times 18 is also 270. Those are equivalent. Take a look at the factor puzzle here. Here we have a factor puzzle that already has our ratios in it. Here's the 10 to 15 in this column, and here's the 18 to 27 in the other column. What we can do is, we can look for our common factors. Common factors between 10 and 18, they have 2 in common. Common factors between 15 and 27, they have 3 in common. 2 times 5 is what gives you 10, and 3 times 5 gives you 15, so 5 must go here. And 2 times 9 gives you 18, and 3 times 9 gives you 27, so 9 must go there. So our common factors, if you remember, are always on the outside of our factor puzzle. Watch what happens when I actually take those common factors and do the multiplication of them. So you know that 2 times 5 is what gives you 10. So here's 2 times 5 in this box. You also know that 2 times 9 gives you 18. So they have 18 in this box. There's your 2 times your 9. Then you know that 3 times 5 gives you 15. So they have 15 in this box, represented by 3 times 5. And last, we have 3 times 9, which gives you 27. So there's your 3 times your 9, representing your 27 in that box. So all we did was put the numbers that we were multiplying, our factors, inside the factor puzzle. And look how they cross multiplied. Now they chose to cross multiply going down. I like to go up, but it really doesn't matter. They have here, let me just get a different color. Here we have the 2 times the 5 times the 3 times the 9, right there. And then over here we have 3 times 5 times 2 times 9, right here. And if you use your order of operations, or actually really doesn't even matter what order you do it in, you're going to end up with the 18 times 15, which is going to give you the 270, and the 10 times 27, which is going to give you the 270. And that's what's happening over here. They cross multiplied. 15 times 18 and 10 times 27. Both of them giving you 270. So what does that mean for some of these proportions? If you look further on page 279, you can see that we're going to solve some proportions using cross multiplication and equations. So take a look at number 1. In number 1, we have 10 over 15, and that's equivalent to 18 over Q. This is a proportion. There's an equal sign there. We're telling you that those two ratios are equivalent. So let's cross multiply. Here we have 15 times 18. Here we have 10 times Q. And there it is. And they're equal to each other, right? They're supposed to be equivalent to each other. Just like on the last page, 270 is equal to 270. Well, guess what? 18 times 15 is equal to 10 times Q. All you need to do now is solve it. 18 times 15, well, let's see. 18 times 15 is going to give you 270. There we go. I want to use a different color. And of course, 10 times Q is 10 times Q. And then solve your equation. Divide by 10 to get your Q isolated. And 270 divided by 10 is going to give you 27. Take a look at number 2. This one has some different numbers. Let me go back to black here. Okay. Here we have P times 14. Here we have 8 times 21. And those cross products, that multiplication, they're equal to each other. I can do the 8 times 21. That's going to give me 168. So now I have 14 times P is equal to 168. Now I can figure out what P is equal to by dividing by 14. 168 divided by 14 is 12. For numbers 5 and 6, we're going to first write these ratios in proportion, write the ratios in each proportion in fraction form, and then we'll solve it using cross multiplication. So here we have 16 to 20. Here we have 12 to A, and they're equal to each other. Now I'm going to write an equation after I cross multiply. Let's go with this color. So I have 16 times A. I have 20 times 12. And then I can do the 20 times the 12. That's going to give me 240. So now I have 16 times A equals 240. And last, I'm just going to divide by my 16 to get my variable by itself. And 240 divided by 16 is going to be 15. A equals 15. Let's try number 6. First, we're going to set up our proportion 18 over B, 27 over 33, and they're equal to each other. Now we're going to solve it using cross multiplication. I have 27 times B. I also have 18 times 33. And they're equal to each other because my cross products are supposed to be equal when I have a proportion. Now I can do the 18 times 33. I can take care of that. That's 594. So now I have 27 times B equals 594. And if I want to solve for B, I have to divide by 27, and that's going to give me 22. Okay, so take a look at page 280. Here you have a situation where you can see a variety of strategies to solve this problem. Xander paid $7 for 5 avocados. How much would 9 avocados cost? Well, one strategy is to set up a rate table, which we did in the very last lesson. Figure out, hey, if it's $7 for 5 avocados, how many dollars for just 1 avocado? What is the unit rate? How much would I pay for 1 avocado? Once I know that, I can figure out how much for any number of avocados. In this case, 9. So I'm going to first think, okay, if $7 is for 5 avocados, I'm going to divide by 5 to get 1 avocado, but I'm going to do the same thing to the dollars. 7/5. 7 divided by 5 is 7/5. Or if you really want to be accurate, 7/5 of a dollar is actually equivalent to $1.40. So it's really $1.40 for 1 avocado. Well, that's for 1 avocado. How much for 9 avocados? We're going to have to multiply by 9. So 7/5 times 9 gives you 63/5. Or if you want to be correct, 63/5 is the same as $12.60. So it's going to cost $12.60 for 9 avocados. And we went about this by finding the unit price first. How much for 1 avocado, so we can figure out how much for 9 avocados. Another way would be to figure it out using a factor puzzle. This strategy, you can see that they already did the unit rate. They figured out that it's $7 for 5 avocados, so that's 7/5 per $7 per avocado. And then you'd have to go in and solve the factor puzzle with the fraction. But basically, you'd still have to do 7/5 times 9, giving you 63/5. I'm not a big fan of the factor puzzle. Now, my favorite strategy, like I said, is the cross multiplication. I love the cross multiplication. I think you will like it too. First, you cross multiply. So here we have the C times the 5. Here we have the 7 times the 9. Obviously, C times 5 is 5C, and 7 times 9 is 63. And then all you have to do is solve it. You have to take your 63 and divide it by 5, giving you 63/5, or again, 63/5 is the same as $12.60 if you actually do the division. Okay, here are the takeaways for, now this is lesson 7-4. When two ratios are equivalent, their cross products are going to be equal to each other. And cross multiplication is a great method. It's used for solving proportions based on the fact that in a proportion, the cross products are going to be equal. And you can see the example down there. So to solve a proportion using cross multiplication, first, cross multiply to get your cross products. The cross products are what you get when you cross multiply. So when I cross multiply x times 30, I'm going to get 30x. When I cross multiply 12 times 75, I'm going to get 900. Those are my cross products, 30x and 900. And those cross products are equal to each other, which is where you get your equation. Remember, an equation has an equal sign, so all I got to do is put an equal sign between my cross products, 30x and 900. And then last, just solve your equation.